David, thank you for being here. I appreciate you letting me record this because people need to know about this device and the problems with vaping.
My pleasure, and I'm very glad to have you joining us on this. Halo is really a revolutionary product that we feel is going to change the world of security, as well as be able to help to alleviate some of the vaping issues that are happening across the country. Your expertise on how to handle the alerts is what we really are excited about. We can help to let people know that there's an issue and a problem. We don't know how they have to solve those problems. That's where your expertise comes in. So I think this is really going to be a very beneficial webinar for everybody.
IP Video Corporation was started in 1996 when we started developing network-based security solutions shortly after the introduction of the first IP addressable camera. Today, our passion for cutting-edge technology and product design has brought us into the IoT space, where we are extremely excited to be introducing Halo Smart Sensor. The majority of our business focus has been in the education market. We have successfully deployed hundreds of enterprise-class video surveillance systems into K-12 and many colleges and universities. With that said, we have a strong understanding of school security from both an educator's perspective as well as from the student's perspective. Students and educators today face some very serious challenges. United States Surgeon General Jerome Adams recently declared vaping a nationwide epidemic. Juul, the most popular choice amongst teens, was recently acquired by Altria, formerly known as Philip Morris, for $12 billion. Clearly, vaping isn't going away anytime soon. As the statistics clearly indicate, usage by teenagers is on the rise, using both nicotine and THC versions. Vaping devices are not just being used for nicotine. They are also being used to vaporize THC, the active component of marijuana. A recent Connecticut study found that 18% of e-cigarette users had vaped THC. A national study found that about 6% of teenagers who had ever vaped reported vaping marijuana. Vaping THC does not produce the distinct smell that is normally associated to marijuana. This allows students to use marijuana without being detected. Halo Smart Sensor can tell the difference between nicotine and THC. Bullying is an imbalance of power, where one student imposes their will against another, mentally, verbally, and/or physically. In fact, 1 out of 4 students will be abused by another student. 280,000 students are physically attacked in secondary schools each month. 1 out of 4 students will be abused by another youth. 43% of students fear harassment in the bathroom at school. 160,000 students miss school each day for fear of being bullied. 77% of students are bullied mentally, verbally, and physically. Halo Smart Sensor is a unique IoT device that can detect harmful airborne contaminants such as smoke, vapor from e-cigarettes, and various chemicals. Halo connects to your network and provides details on the presence of these toxic hazards. Embedded audio analytics can detect bullying when voices escalate beyond the norm and even identify gunshots. Halo Smart Sensor examines particulate matter in the air to look for signatures. Each of the offenders, such as smoke, vapor, THC, chemicals, and various other contaminants, each have unique signatures. When a signature matches a known contaminant, Halo is triggered. Halo also monitors temperature and humidity. Halo Smart Sensor monitors for the presence of hazardous gases and chemicals such as cleaning solutions, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and pneumonia. Halo features an audio level sensor that detects audible events such as aggression and gunshots. Halo is also able to detect things that cameras can't see and can work in conjunction with cameras in common areas. Audio is not recorded, so there is no invasion of privacy. Halo also features an onboard light sensor, which can be used to detect occupancy in a room. The existence of light during off hours could indicate a breach. Halo can easily be integrated with third-party security technology. Halo provides a generic motion JPEG video stream that contains the sensor values in graphic form, allowing simple integration with any video management system. Alarms generated by Halo when thresholds are exceeded can be transmitted to multiple VMS platforms via an event API. Event notifications can be transmitted via email or text alert. Two relay channels provide a direct interface to any alarm panel or building security or management system. The status of each individual sensor can be monitored visually through Milestone. Multiple Halo devices can be monitored simultaneously and side by side with surveillance cameras. Adding a Halo to Milestone does require a camera license. Any VMS that supports generic motion JPEG streams should be able to support Halo. Halo Smart Sensor is integrated with new LED's PoE lighting. Events can trigger the lights to change color, showing emergency escape direction. This is particularly helpful for hearing impaired and autistic children. Halo Smart Sensor is simple to install, can be ceiling or flush mounted, is powered by PoE, and is simple to set up. Halo is 5.75 inches in diameter and is similar in size to a traditional smoke detector. Halo Smart Sensor is a cost-effective device that provides multiple sensor-based technologies in a single small footprint. Early warning notifications can save lives. Every second counts. Monitor areas where cameras are not allowed to be installed. Halo acts as a visual deterrent. If students think they are being monitored, they will be less likely to break rules. Halo gives schools definitive proof to intervene with students and use as teaching moments. This brings us to our question and answer session that will be hosted by our panelists, David Antar, President and CEO for IP Video Corporation, and Lieutenant Joseph Pangaro, President and CEO for True Security Design.
Vaping has become a real problem in schools. I hear it all the time. As part of what we do in True Security Design, we do threat assessments, we do training for school personnel, and we hear all the time about this vaping problem. You know, what exactly is vaping? I'm hearing from parents. What is it they should be looking for? What are the problems with vaping? Can you vape drugs? Is that dangerous to other people? So I think we need to at least discuss what vaping is first, and then we could talk about the Halo and how that actually works, because I've seen it. It's an amazing thing. So vaping is the inhalation of vapor. So what they do is they take a battery-operated device, and you put some kind of a juice in there. That juice can be flavored. The juice can be marijuana. Can use other kind of drugs in there. And then you push a button or activate the device, which creates heat. The device heats up and creates a vapor out of whatever product is in there, and then that is inhaled. So that's where the vaping comes from, the idea of vaping. The dangers of this are are great because there are lots of different chemicals involved. And the halo picks up a lot of these chemicals. That's how it works, right,
Absolutely
Dave?
correct. Absolutely correct, John.
Okay, so when I look at this, I had a mom reach out to me recently and say, why should my kid not be involved with vaping? I read that it's actually healthier than cigarettes. Well, I think we have to break this down into two different parts. What's good for adults is not always good for what's good for children. All right, for an adult that's got a nicotine addiction, smoking regular cigarettes, they may want to use the vape to get off of the actual cigarette smoking part. But the nicotine in vapes is actually stronger than it is in regular cigarettes. Now, who knows why that's done? To get people to continue to use the vape products? I don't know. I would have to guess
I would agree.
that that's what it be. But that's nicotine in and of itself is dangerous to kids. So that's the first thing I tell parents. The developing brain of a young person can be affected by the drug nicotine, and that's exactly what it is. They find that in time, young people that use vapes are more likely to smoke regular cigarettes as their life goes on because they're used to the nicotine. They're addicted to it. The drug part, when they put it in there, now you have kids that are vaping marijuana, and you can't, it's not like back in the day, if you remember people smoking pot, you could smell that pot. With the vape, you don't actually smell the marijuana. So the kids are actually vaping in class, they're vaping in bathrooms, they're vaping in the hallways. And if you don't believe me, you can go and ask any high school kid, and they'll tell you exactly what's going on out there. So exactly how, David, does the halo work to help me to identify as a school person that someone's vaping in my school?
Sure, Joe. I'll address that. And Halo, kind of give you a little background on it. Halo is a Swiss Army knife of sensors that was designed specifically for vaping in the bathroom. But when our engineers did some of the initial design to it, they put in all these other sensors to give you a whole bunch of other things aside from just the vaping. So as an example, there's audio analytics in the system. And the audio analytics can do everything from addressing aggression detection. Somebody started yelling at somebody, or there were some loud noises in any area that the Halo unit is in. Glass break, if glass broke in the area from a break-in or from any other reason. A gunshot detection. So it even can do gunshot detection. And then the array that's in there for the audio has the ability to be able to understand spoken words, so we can train this to learn a word like help 911. So this can actually serve the purpose as a panic button. On the vape side of it, we use multiple sensors to determine the vape because vape vaporizes into the air. So we need a way to be able to determine the signature of vape as compared to other things in the air. The other type of sensors that we have in this are particulate sensors that actually tell us the size of the particles. We have chemical detection. That's how we detect the THC and some of the other chemicals that are in the air, including ammonia and alcohol. That also allows us to be able to determine if the cleaning was done at 7 o'clock at night in a building. It's very interesting how we integrate those together to be able to determine those things. Then we can do things like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane, propane, natural gas, temperature, humidity, light levels. When I say it's a Swiss Army knife, I truly mean that.
No kidding, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's really incredible. Then on top of that, there's a computer inside the device. And the computer gets smarter over time and can learn things. So a perfect example of that might be if you use this into a stairway or a hallway of a school. In that stairway or hallway, it would recognize that between 9:50 and 10 o'clock, when the kids are moving between classes, it's very noisy in those hallways. But if at 10:15 all of a sudden there was a loud noise, somebody fell down the stairs, somebody was yelling for help, somebody was being bullied, it's going to trigger that as an alert. Similarly, with the vape detection and with the other sensors, we're also starting to record those over time and getting smarter with the systems so that we can fine-tune to minimize false alarms. There's nothing that can 100% eliminate all false alarms from any type of sensor. But as we get smarter over time, we can isolate the ones that are the true ones that we want to determine. In one school district that we have this in, that we're doing one of the initial pilots with, we were able to determine all the vape incidents that happened very, very accurately in the school bathroom. But we ironically were able to uncover the times when people were smoking THC with the vape unit. And we also saw exactly what time the cleaning people came into the building. So we're really excited about this product and what its applications are.
As the director of school safety and security, I know it was important to me to figure out what was going on in my buildings and what was happening. So this Halo device actually, like you say, it's a learning device, so it learns when it should be quiet, and that's when you hear somebody screaming for help. That's fantastic, because you know what I talk about all the time, David, is time equals life. Yep. So in an emergency thing, non-active shooter thing, was just a fight in the hallway where someone's getting hurt, or as we heard in the beginning, the bullying that could go on in a school. You can hear that. And this detector will tell somebody, go take a look, see what's going on over there. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So the irony to this product, although it was originally designed for vaping in bathrooms and bullying, it's expanded its role now into every room of every building, not just schools. We go into a lot of other vertical markets, healthcare, hospitality, airports. The applications go on, and we are even having a request now to put this on moving vehicles like a bus. And the irony of that is that we can measure the air quality in that bus, and if a bus is idling for too long and fumes are coming into it, a child that might be asthmatic might be suffering from those fumes, and we can actually monitor that, as well as air quality in a building in general with the device.
That's excellent. And that goes to one of the other questions that I get from people when you talk about it, monitoring that air quality. I have people say to me, well, my kid doesn't vape, or at least as far as I know, my kid doesn't vape. But does the secondhand vape affect kids or anybody like secondhand smoke? Now, there's a big argument about that, but I think the statistics are there. If my kid is not smoking the marijuana vape, but he's in that bathroom where kids are, he's going to breathe it in.
No question.
If he's in there doing some other drug, and we now know that on the internet you can buy vape juice, is what they call it, that has opioid in it. You can find it with methamphetamine, so it's only a matter of time till people are using that more regularly. And anecdotally, from my own life, last week I had a ride with a friend of mine who's a cigarette smoker, and we were stuck in a car together, and he's using a vape to get off the cigarettes, which was great. But this guy was hitting that vape every 15 minutes, and by the end of the 2 hours, I could feel all that nicotine in my system, and I didn't like it. I'm not a smoker or a vapor, so this machine is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely the same. When we were doing a lot of the testing with a vape in our own building, the effects of it actually bothered me if I was in front of the vape as we were doing the testing, where I couldn't stay in the same rooms that they were doing some of the initial testing when we were doing the initial development of the technology. So yeah, there is something to the secondhand component to this. There's some questions that are coming through, so I want to answer a few of the questions that are starting to come through. And some of the questions that we're seeing are, how much space does it cover? Is one of the questions that's coming up from quite a few people. And our estimation right now would be a 12 by 12 room for vaping, or a typical bathroom size room. However, when we're using it for all the other applications, which include the audio analytics and the other air quality sensors, it can cover a 1,000 square foot area. So it's a fairly significant area that we can cover with the devices.
That's pretty big.
Yep. We would typically, put one per hallway or stairway and be able to cover larger areas with it. And then as we start to develop some of the more artificial intelligence to it, and that's what's currently going on. We actually just recently took space at Stony Brook University's graduate center. They actually have a incubator there called the CWIT Center, and we actually now are staffing that with graduate students that will be doing some of the AI developments to this. So this will actually continue to get smarter and smarter over time. All the hardware components are complete, and they're ready to deploy. And then this will slowly have improvements over time, like a lot of the different technology, like a Nest thermostat or a Ring doorbell, get new features and functions. Very similar to that, we're going to be getting new features and functions to the system as time goes on.
Very nice. Now, is this exclusively your product, or is this something I can buy from anybody at the store, or is this something you guys developed?
Yeah, we developed this 100%. It is US made, US developed, 100% by our engineers. We actually filed a patent, and this is patent pending on the technology that was developed over here. And conceptually, we had developed some early technologies almost 4 years ago with an initial patent that we had applied for, which was based on intelligence of a product in a room sensor learning over time and getting smarter. And that evolved into our vape detection and audio analytics that are into this device.
That's great. Now, I know I get questions. I'm looking up here, and I get this one all the time, so I see it up on the board. School people will say to me all the time, okay, I get this alert, and I get down to the bathroom, and I get there, and there's 3 kids in there, or there's 1 kid in there, and they're not currently vaping. What can I do? So as someone who handles these kind of things, I'm doing research. That's how I got to meet you and everybody here to figure these things out. I spoke with an attorney who specializes in school issues for liability and everything with the schools, and we had a nice conversation. And basically what I'm going to offer to you is I'm creating a policy, a model policy that can go along with each one of these to help people figure out what can we do if we get a vape alert? How soon after the vape alert can you search people? Can you search their bags? Can you look in a locker? What can you do? This is important stuff.
Absolutely.
Of how that's going to happen. But we're basing it on, what every school has to operate under, and that's making sure school rules are followed. It's not about criminal.
Exactly.
This is about making sure that school rules and regulations are followed, keeps everybody safe and healthy. So I'm creating that policy with this attorney that we'll be offering out to you that you can use with this product, because I get that constantly. And it's important. People need to know.
Yeah, that's great, and really that's what's needed. One of the really important features of Halo that some people overlook is the fact that the output from this connects as a PoE device, which means it's powered by the network switch. It goes out into a video management system as if it's another camera in the video management system and can be associated to cameras. We obviously can't put cameras in bathrooms, locker rooms, or any place where you would expect privacy. However, we can associate a camera outside of that bathroom to the Halo unit. And it's very easy to see patterns where the Halo spikes and we're getting the alerts, and the people that are coming out of that bathroom
Are the
shortly
same
thereafter.
kids,
Yeah,
repeatedly.
exactly. It's very easy to start to create the associations.
It
and be able
focuses
to-
your investigation.
Sure, and especially if you get a THC alert on it and you see the same student or multiple students that are going in there at the same time each day, it really becomes a very, very clear way to be able to identify where the real problematic issues are. The other thing about this is because we did the integration into a video management system, we did a full integration into Milestone video management platform. And Milestone is the #1 video platform in the world for the last 10 years. And the reason is that it is built on an open platform. They have a community of developers that develop applications for Milestone. Over 1,100 different manufacturers have done that integration. And we chose Milestone as the first product to do the integration to because it has a very, very robust rules engine. And that rules engine can trigger all kinds of alerts and events and different things that happen based on an event that gets triggered by Halo. So we're really excited about that, and we're just excited where this next level is going to be going to.
Yeah, it is exciting, because I know trying to find a solution for a problem is very difficult. And when I first heard about this, I said, how's it going to work? And you've taken me into the lab, you showed it to me. I've smelled some of those fumes standing in the back there, and it does work, and it alerts right away, immediately. And that would send me an alert as a director, right? Or whoever we designate, I would get a specific alert. There's a vaping going on in this room, and I can go check it right away.
Absolutely correct.
I think that's a boon for schools to find a way to cut this down, because I don't want my kid breathing in stuff. Not only that, the other dangers I saw here, just recently in Texas, there was a young man, I think he was 24, 25 years old. He bought his vaping equipment.
Right.
He went out in the car, he lit up his vape pipe, and it exploded. And when it exploded, it sent shrapnel in every direction, including across his neck. It cut his carotid artery, and the young man bled out in his car.
I heard about that.
Now, you said that's a pretty extreme example.
It is.
But I got to tell you, the batteries in these things are lithium ion. And what part of the danger is that when they touch anything else that's metal, there's a chance of them heating up on their own and exploding. And that has happened many, many times. I mean, people are just standing there talking. It's touching a coin or a key or something in their pocket. The battery is overcharged sometimes, and it explodes right in their pockets. Now, could you imagine having one of these vape pens in somebody's locker or in a backpack?
Sure.
Now that goes on fire and starts the school on fire. Now you're endangering everybody in that building. So this vaping is not a simple these kids just want to puff on this thing so they don't have to smoke cigarettes. There's some dangers with this vaping, and I'm glad to see that there's something out there to help schools and help me do what I'm trying to do to keep them safe.
Sure. One of the other questions that came up, the questions that are being asked as we're presenting the webinar, is the cost of the unit. And this was something that was really near and dear to our heart, trying to price this at a point that made it reasonable and affordable for school districts. And the price on this is $995 for a unit. And as it's a PowerWave Ethernet device. So we tried to make this as simple as possible from an installation point of view, and as cost effective as possible, because we truly believe this is solving a major problem in the United States right now. It has truly really reached epidemic levels, and this is really the only product we know of that works successfully to uncover vape situations.
Sure. And now I'm looking at it right there sitting on the table next to you. It's small. It looks like a smoke detector. That's the size of it. And does it go in the ceiling, or does it go right on the ceiling, or
Yeah.
where?
So the
exactly
design
put
of this
that?
was to the same size as a lighting fixture, a can lighting fixture that might go into a drop ceiling, and you basically drill a hole for it. You pop this in. It has two little wings that go out. It takes about 5 minutes to literally install this. It's a very simple process. You plug a network cable into it, and you're done.
Okay.
The rest is all configured on the back end through a web browser interface. You don't need Milestone. You don't need anything else to integrate to it. It will work out of the box through a browser and send alerts to email or to a text message.
So the cop in me, the school safety director in me, looks at that and says, what are the kids going to do to that thing? You know, how are they going to disable that when it's up there?
Funny you say that. During some of our initial testing and pilots, we put it into a school district, and school kids knew what we were doing. And within an hour, the unit was, they actually grabbed the ceiling and actually went to yank it out of the ceiling. So the new production version actually has an accelerometer into it. The accelerometer gives us an instant alert if somebody touches the unit or hits it in any way. So we've also built this to a much more ruggedized standard. So the initial pilot units were actually built on a 3D printer. The production units are a much heavier gauge plastic, much harder
It
to
feels
cause
pretty
any
solid.
damage. Absolutely, yeah. So it's much harder to damage. So we've actually built it to a much ruggeder, more ruggedized standard for that.
So basically, a kid grabs that and tries to yank it out.
Not gonna
I'm going to get notified and go down and catch it right in his hand.
Exactly. It's
Well, that's really wonderful, David, and thank you for telling me about it, and thanks for telling everybody about this. I know as a school person, it was important for me to know this, and at this point, I think we're going to start to wrap up here. So make sure you reach out for this information. This is a tremendous piece of equipment. I think it's awesome. I've seen lots of other things, and there's nothing like this out there, so thanks for having me in.
my pleasure. Jack, thank you for your presentation. That was awesome on educating everybody on it. And we're going to close out the webinar. So thank you all for attending.
Have a great day.